Good morning. On your screen is AgriX as it awaits for its launch attempt carrying Avomancer on top. My name is Aubrey Fitzgerald, and I'm one of the Diamond Aerospace staff engineering. We're about 10.5 minutes before the launch. The launch remained clear with 89% weather go for launch. This is the brand new booster that we used on this mission, but as it will not reach orbit at this time so the first stage is not targeting for landing at this time. This was the first launch of Avomancer atop AgriX, but as it mentioned before, we're not going to orbit. We only testing the abort system on Avomancer, which we already did before, but at this time we go further. As you can see there, the recap of the pad abort test of Avomancer, the test was going smooth with no major damage at all. With this flight, we can know what we need to upgrade or change for making Avomancer is the safest spacecraft ever made. This in-flight abort, or we call it on-duty abort, is a safety feature that allows the spacecraft to separate it from the vehicle if the vehicle itself have an issue that can harm the crew during flight. This feature allowing the spacecraft engine, we have 8 of them on the spacecraft called Canaveral, will ignite during flight, allowing the spacecraft move further away from the launch vehicle to avoid the explosion of the vehicle. The spacecraft will begin its splashdown sequence. Meanwhile, the ground team will approaching the splashdown area. Meanwhile, this is still a test. We have a crew in the Atlantic Ocean waiting for the Avomancer to splash down. However, excitement is guaranteed, as you can hear here at our headquarters at Wilmington. People are cheering waiting for the launch test of Avomancer. With that, we're now under 9 minutes before he lift off of AgriX in Avomancer. Let's take a look with Augustine Williams about the timeline and rocket information.
Good morning. My name is Augustine Williams. We're about 8 minutes and 40 seconds before liftoff. Propellant load has been started at around 25 minutes before liftoff. 18 minutes ago. We have 6 minutes to complete the fuel load. However, the second stage, we only half of the tank filled with propellant. We don't use the second stage on this mission, so we don't fill the second stage tank.
As you can see there on top of the screen, we have 3 engine issue running. Teams still looking to fix the engine issue. If the issue hasn't solved, we can have a hold at T-1 minute and 30 seconds before liftoff. If the issue solved, we can continue the countdown for liftoff. Today's mission was the test of the Avomancer abort test with AgriX for the booster. However, we don't need to go to space. We have a video about the mission profile of today's launch. Let's take a look for a while.
25 minutes before the liftoff of AgriX and Avomancer, propellant load started ahead for the launch. At 0 seconds, the vehicle began to lift off from Launch Complex 39D at Cape Canaveral. The vehicle passed trough max Q, the highest mechanical stress on the rocket during ascent. At 1 minute and 30 seconds after liftoff, the vehicle cut off all of the engine and Avomancer ignite all of the engine and separated from AgriX to avoid AgriX debris.
The trunk serviced the electrical system jettision prior to splashdown. Parachute deploy at about 2.5 meters above the sea surface, helping the spacecraft to slow down for water impact. Splashdown occur a minute after.
Now we're under 6 minutes before the liftoff of the on-duty abort test. With that, I'm switching to Diamond Aerospace headquarters at Wilmington.
Now the teams is still completing the fuel load. We should see the propellant load complete in just over 2 minutes from now. However, I want to give a congrats to whole Diamond Aerospace teams, and happy birthday to Diamond Aerospace teams. We're officially 1 year old. However, we still have work to do, a lot, but we have a recap of our journey from we started until now.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
Alright, we're now on the countdown hold now, but don't worry, team's not working with any issue, just checking the Avomancer system. As we said, we're not going to orbit at this time, we just testing the safety capability of Avomancer. With that, the remaining engines out will not be an issue for today's launch. Our teams have over 1 hour left to checking any issue on the system, but I think they'll not take it full time at this time. Alright, we just heard a confirmation. We're now ready for clock continue. Reminder, we're now 1 minute and 30 seconds. Once the clock continue, we'll switch to Sarah Violin for the launch commentary. With that, we'll immediately switch to Sarah. How it's going, Sarah?
Alright, as you know, Teams is ready for clock continue. That means now we're ready to launch. After the clock continue, the computer system will take over the entire AgriX. Once the clock reaches 0, we should see the vehicle lifted off. The clock should be continued by any moment from now. Alright, with that, the computer has taken over the countdown. At T-minus 40 seconds, we should hear the launch director calling out ready for launch. One minute till launch. Still looking great.
LDs go for launch.
It's configured for flight.
All right, as you heard there, if you can hear that, the launch director is now ready for launch.
T-minus 30.
Next up, liftoff at T-minus 0 seconds. With that, we'll see you after liftoff.
Stage route, let's go for flight.
T-minus 10, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. We have liftoff.
Booster up, we can boost up the Avomancer.
All teams triage alarms.
Tower, monitoring nominal. Acquisition signal for
T-plus 40 seconds into the flight. Vehicle throttling down ahead for maximum aerodynamic pressure. The highest stress on the rocket during ascent, minimizing the load stress on the rocket. "55 seconds and continue."
Max Q.
Loud and clear. Vehicle just passed drough, the highest stress on the rocket during ascent. Shortly, we should see the Avomancer abort in just under 30 seconds from now. Let's watch and listen from the Mission Control Center.
Acquisition signal Houston.
All right, now, as you can see, the Avomancer has successfully aborted from AgriX. The AgriX vehicle has activated its flight termination, however, the Avomancer is still in healthy condition. prior to splashdown, the Avomancer will jettision its electrical modules, or we call it the trunks. This will help to reduce the mass of the spacecraft so we can slow it down more. We should see the trunk jettision in just any moment from now. All right, here we go. The Avomancer rotated, and there's the trunk jettision. The Avomancer has reached its highest apogee. Now the spacecraft will start to descent and will be splashed down 50 kilometers from the launch site. A gorgeous view of the Avomancer making its way to splashdown area. The splashdown will occur about 5 minutes after liftoff, or T plus 5 minutes. The teams on the sea is still waiting for the Avomancer return. We'll welcome the Avomancer once the spacecraft splash down. Teams will immediately go into the Avomancer splashdown area. Before the Avomancer splashdown, we should see the Avomancer parachute deploy, helping to control or steer the spacecraft and slowing the spacecraft for splashdown in the water.
Alright, we're back for a while at Wilmington. Love seeing that AgriX successfully ascent, Avomancer abort successfully. The AgriX destruct itself, but don't worry, it's planned to minimizing debris falling to a place that not supposed to. And now the spacecraft making its way to splashdown area. Congratulations to entire teams of Diamond Aerospace completing this mission.
All right, if you just joining us, the Avomancer and AgriX has lifted off and aborted successfully, and now the Avomancer is on the lowest Earth atmosphere, traveling more than 2,000 kilometers per hour. All right, here we go. The parachute will open in just any moment from now. Let's just watch. And there it is. The Avomancer opened its main parachute, slowing down the spacecraft and control to the expected splashdown zone. Love seeing this footage from the recovery vessel near the splashdown area.
And we have another here.
And splashdown occurred.
Congratulations to the entire Diamond Aerospace teams for completing the first ever high-altitude flight of Avomancer. With this test, we're stepping ahead for Avomancer orbital flight test, which is targeted no earlier end of this year. But what a day! A beautiful launch from Cape, amazing Diamond Mach, and amazing abort for Avomancer.
With that, we'll end the webcast here. Teams are continued to recover the Avomancer, but if you want to know about it, you can check our media social in description. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next month.